Hello, I'm Kevin McGrath, VP of Spot by NetApp, and I'm here with a very special guest today, Dieter Mason.
Hey, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. And you've been in the industry for a long time. You have a lot of experience in the cloud. Can you give us a little bit of background about your expertise?
Of course, I have been in the cloud since 2013. I have been doing cloud financial management at companies like Google, Netflix, Intuit, and most recently at Roku.
Yeah, and FinOps is a big topic right now. Everybody moving to the cloud has to have some sort of FinOps practice where we are. Can you expand a little bit on your FinOps experience and what you do there?
FinOps really is relatively simple. We only have two levers that we can use. There is rate optimization and usage optimization. So rate optimization are things like enterprise discounts, reserved instances, savings plans, those kind of things. While usage optimization is right-sizing, cloud parking, re-architecting, becoming more cloud native.
What was it about Spot that said, hey, there's something here that will help me do my job better than I've been doing it already?
Well, to be really honest, we already had a savings plan coverage of 80 to 85% and peaking at 90% over the weekends when the engineers were out of office and the workloads were shut down. So I was skeptic at first, right? However, my company hired a new director in the central team, and that person had experience with using a Spot Echo and Spot Ocean. And the director said, you know what, we can just do a proof of concept and see if it changes anything, right? If we see an improvement, then great, then we can decide to move forward. Or if you don't see an improvement, then no harm done, right?
Can you talk about that journey a little bit? Did you start with one over the other?
Yeah, actually, the easiest was Spot Echo to adopt, right? Because Spot Ocean is a Kubernetes optimizing solution. The adoption is gradual over time. While with Spot Echo, we can do the adoption right away, right? We just turn it on, we provision an IAM policy, and we are good to go. And we saw substantial improvements over just the savings plan coverage that I was personally so proud of.
So we were able to add even a little bit more value on top of what you were getting there, but those small percentages, I think, turn into big dollars, right?
It's quite a bit. We kept monitoring the progress of Spot Echo, and it continued to do a fantastic job. Back then, we did only EC2, automated management by the Spot Echo team, right? Overall, in the last 12 months, the savings plans that we used to manage ourselves saved about 14% of the total cloud bill. However, the Spot Echo team using EC2 and non-EC2 managed to add another 10% of savings of the total cloud bill. So altogether, it is a quite substantial amount, something that we wouldn't have thought was possible before we started that journey.
Can you explain to me a little deeper what Eco does for your team and how your team operates with Eco?
Eco has the ability to use multiple mechanisms on the reserved instance product offering to further optimize the RI coverage, right? One of the options that the Eco product has is it can actually, if a reserved instance is no longer needed, it can actually put it up for sale on the AWS Marketplace, right? Now, the AWS Marketplace for RIs is relatively slow. However, NetApp is a very large company and has hundreds of Eco customers, right? So what the Eco tool really can do is if one of their customers cannot take advantage of that RI, right, but another customer can, it can use the AWS Marketplace as a venue to transfer that RI, essentially. So this is one of the options that the Eco product has. The other option is to use convertible RIs. Convertible RIs can actually be stretched. So let's say you purchased one for a 3-year time period, right? And you're about halfway used up with 18 months at the 18 months point, right? So what you can now do is you can actually stretch that convertible RI again over 3 years, over 36 months, and reduce the overall commitment, right? And you can do the opposite. You can actually shrink that RI and you can increase the commitment, right? When we first started, we saw like an average coverage maybe around 90% with a utilization of 100%. I ran some numbers, and I had the feeling that we could actually push this a little bit further. So I reached out to the eco team. The eco team actually increased it 91, 92, 94, 96, right? And then at some point we found that the sweet spot for our workloads was at 94% coverage and at 99% utilization, right? Because you need to weigh the loss of the underutilized RIs with the benefit of the increased coverage, right? If the coverage can be increased and you're still making more money than you're losing on the underutilization, you're making out good.
That's great. And after you got Eco running, you started looking at Ocean. Can you talk a little bit about that journey and how you started using Ocean to kind of blend in with the Eco savings that you were already getting?
So again, Ocean is a product that optimizes for Kubernetes, right? So if the control plane needs to instantiate a virtual machine as a worker node, Spot Ocean will find the cheapest option available. It will consider on-demand savings plans, reservations, and even spot. Then it will pick the cheapest option at that hour, right? Now, there is something that is very unique about Spot Ocean. Let's say that there was a reserved instance that was previously unused, and Spot Ocean decided to start a worker node in that same type so that the reserved instance can be taken advantage of by the Kubernetes cluster. Then, a few minutes later, or an hour or two later, another account maybe starts also an EC2 instance that could take advantage of the previously unused reserved instance. What Spot Ocean will do is it will terminate that worker node, and it so that the benefit of the reserved instance can float to that other account where that new EC2 instance was initiated. And then Spot Ocean will again choose the cheapest option available for the new worker.
Can you talk about maybe some of the savings you've gotten from a team aspect?
The savings plans is relatively simple, right? You just purchase to a high watermark, and then you're good to go, right? But managing reserved instances is a little bit different, right? Think about that you have multiple accounts, and a workload in a specific account can benefit of reserved instances. Let's say you have a total of 100 EC2 instances, but only 50 reserved instances, right? So what happens is that AWS will essentially randomly attribute the 50 RIs to those 100 EC2 instances, right? Now, if you want to optimize that, you need to actually purchase the reserved instances in the specific accounts, right? So very quickly you get a sprawl across the accounts where you try to optimize those workloads by buying RIs in those accounts, right? Managing the RIs or the savings plans or the savings instruments by the engineers is a lot of overhead, and there's also a lot of training required. With the Spot Ocean product, you don't have to worry about that anymore, right? Spot Ocean has all this knowledge, and it also has the ability to forecast how pricing will look like in the near future, to make really informed decisions at that minute, which instance is the cheapest instance for this workload. Spot Ocean has visibility across all of your accounts, and it will do the best decision possible for each workload.
Got it. And so what type of relief has that given to the team specifically? Is your team not even worried about these things anymore?
That's exactly right. Yes, that's exactly right. The engineers can focus on innovation and don't have to worry about what happens behind the scenes. So this is why I'm so really happy that Spot Eco and Spot Ocean are those two products that work very closely with each other.
That's great. So what was it about Spot in particular that got you excited to go down the road with our team? To help you on this journey of cloud optimization?
We looked at other tools or other vendors, right? And when it comes to other tools, we would need to maintain those tools in-house again, right? So that means we need to hire an engineer at the minimum to maintain something that is not core to our business. And then that engineer may want to go on vacation, so you need two of them, right? Those kind of things. When we looked at other vendors, I felt that Spot had the most history in this marketplace, right? the team was very experienced. Even on a technical level, right? We did a deep dive. I felt that Spot had the most seniority of the teams in the market.
With the time and the savings that your team now has with Spot, what are you able to focus on that you weren't able to focus on before?
So there's a multitude of things, right? One is there's a reduction of total cost of ownership in the cloud, right? And that enables us to start other projects, right? That we may have delayed or not considered. So that's one thing. The other thing is that the engineers really get relieved from having to worry about that RI management, right? Because we just tell them, hey, this is taken care of by Spot, right? You don't have to worry about this anymore.
Tying this back to your expertise in the FinOps space, how has both Eco and Ocean changed your view on how you implement FinOps and how you think about FinOps?
One of the things with FinOps is that, as I said in the beginning, we have rate optimization and usage optimization, right? So two levers, but it's fairly complex, right? So using the automation that Spot Eco and Spot Ocean provides, the FinOps team can actually make a bigger impact within the organization. Not only that, we can also, using the automation, produce more consistent results, right? It is not just one region. We have multiple regions, many regions, right? And we have consistent results across the regions.
Can you summarize your experience using Spot.io and this new FinOps superpower that you have today?
From my experience, right, as I mentioned, I was very confident that what I was doing with the savings plans was already the best that we could achieve. And I was skeptical, right? But if I want you to take one thing away is give it a try, right? Do a proof of concept, right? If it doesn't work out, then so what, right? No big deal. But if the proof of concept does have a significant difference, and it did for us, then you can decide how you want to move forward.
Thank you very much for being here today, Dieter. It's a pleasure speaking to you.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you to everybody watching. And if you want to find the same cloud optimization that Dieter is finding in his organization, you can check out all of Spot products at spot.io.